Hey, this is Nik Ewing of the band Local Natives and my solo project Chewing. Welcome to Bothering the Band.
Welcome to Bothering the Band. We have Nik Ewing here, and he's coming in from a Dell computer in 1999. Had some technical difficulties, but we're so happy to have you, Nick. What's going on, dude?
Remember when Dells were the best computers in the world?
I know. Nick, regardless of the technical difficulties, we're so happy to have you. You make the fourth local native we've had. Who are we missing?
I don't know. Who have you had on? Tell me and I can figure it out.
Kelsey was first,
Okay.
Ryan and Taylor
Yep.
recently, or kind of recently, for the new Local Natives album, and now you.
Now me. I think the person you're missing is Matt. He's our drummer. Um,
hmm
but that kind of checks out, right? Maybe drummers are on a little you're listening right now. I love you. You should be on this podcast.
Is he breaking up for you, Abby?
hmm
Oh
Fuck.
no.
I hate to
Uh,
cut.
Um,
We'll see if you start stuttering again.
for what it's worth, you guys have never froze on my end. So I don't want to point any fingers, but uh, it's working. It's working. You guys are working for me.
Okay, cool. We'll just keep on going. So we're missing Matt, the drummer of Local Natives. I hope he heard or gets to hear the wonderful shout out you just gave him when we were freezing and breaking up. What's your relationship with technology?
This is such a bad example of my relationship with technology because everyone in the band will text me for help, like when they can't get their Zoom to work, or they're like, "Hey, where's our Dropbox? Um, how do you YouTube?" Um, So maybe the bar is just really low in my band, and you've seen how low that bar is with my technical difficulties today. But I have a good relationship with technology. I'm the tech support in the band.
It's just sun flares or something today, and it's, screwing things up.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be the oppressive heat they're having out west.
It could
Where
be.
where are y'all?
We're both in Florida, but just different parts.
Is it hot there?
It's always hot. So like the wires and the tubes are used to it.
Yeah. Ours are.
They're not used to it. We're supposed to be out west in a couple weeks, and I was looking forward to the cooler weather.
I'm sorry. You're not going to cool down except at night, kind of.
I'll take it. So Nick, you're a graphic designer though too, right? Moonlight.
Yeah. I do a lot of the band stuff. Like I'm kind of in charge of most of the band stuff. I did like our last album cover and everything around that.
I love that.
Um,
Love that one.
yeah, thanks. It's just kind of, especially with music, it kind of always went hand in hand for me.
Mhm.
So I was always designing whatever band I was in, whatever project I was doing. I was always making the artwork because I felt like how it looked was might be sacrilegious to say, but was kind of as important as it sounded because that first impression, like if you were to describe an album with words, it probably sounds a little pretentious, but with the album cover, you're trying to convey that feeling instantly. And that's just one example, you know? So how can you get that feeling across? And that's kind of my approach with design is just, uh, I don't know. It's an art, it's a language.
Oh, absolutely. I I've published a ton of books and I put way too much thought into the covers.
No, you don't put enough. You can't say too much thought.
Well, I already know like the next I have book covers for books I haven't written yet. Let's say it that way.
That's amazing. I've
I'll
I've heard
find
that
something.
I've heard that with like artists and albums where they had the album cover and they're like, all right, we need to make the album sound like what this cover is going to be like.
Actually, we'll dive into one of my covers after we talk about your new album. Tell us about the new album while you're here.
Yeah, I have a new solo record. My solo music is under the name Chewing, and it's an all piano instrumental album that I made for my daughter. I kind of just accidentally made this album. I was just like recording voice memos all the time when she was first born. Just I was playing the piano for her like every day, and then like over time, I just kind of like revisited a lot of those, just listening to them, and then I was like, I want to record these so she has like good recording from all this music from the beginning of her life. Then I started working on that and finishing songs and kind of digging through it all, and then I, yeah, just accidentally made an album, and because it was for her the whole time. I was like, I'm gonna document this for her, and then I had enough for an album, and I also wanted to put it on vinyl, so it's uh, so she had that. So I don't know what music streaming will be like when she's in her 20s or 30s. So I wanted her to have this physical music that she can hold, and yeah, that's my second Chewing album.
I love it. That's wonderful. So, what's the name of the album?
The name is called Songs for Linnea. That's my daughter's name.
Yeah, I didn't want to try to pronounce it. I knew
So
the name.
yeah,
So, hard hard hitting questions.
yeah.
Ha- Do you think it's going to come back to bite you in the ass that you put an apostrophe in your daughter's name?
I think it already is in medical forms. We had to get her passport, and that was
Mhm.
they don't accept the apostrophe. Um, so apologies, Linnea, if you're listening to this right now or in the future. But that was like how it was spelt, and it's like a family name. So you can blame your ancestors, I guess, probably.
Oh man, that's fun. It's a beautiful name, no joke.
Thank you so much.
I wrote a book for my daughter. My last book was called Hearts and Farts.
Oh,
I would
amazing.
love it's for my daughter. She's on the cover. I really wanted to same vibe. Just this will you'll find you'll be with your friends. You could be 25 years old in a bookstore, farting around and be like, there's my dad's book.
Yeah.
That's all I want. I don't even want her to buy it. Like I just want her to be like, oh, there it is again. You know?
I mean, it's kind of special just to like document that time, or I don't know how it was for you, but just this was just my only kid, and
Yeah, same.
becoming a parent, like it was just at the beginning of her life. It's pretty bizarre, just like this whole everything about my life changed. And so for me, I was just like, I want to document this as best I can because this is um just crazy.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. I'll send you a copy of this book.
Please.
Yeah, we'll get your address after this. Send you one. I would say I could bring it to you in person because, like Abby said, we're going to be on the West Coast doing a show, but that's the same day Local Natives is in Maryland, so that's a
Ah,
bummer.
yeah.
But
We
we will catch you guys either separately or together at one or two spots in Florida, Orlando and Fort Lauderdale in November. So maybe we can say hey and um,
definitely.
snag a photo or something. If you want a coffee, just let us know. We'll bring you a coffee.
I am down. The Floridians, that's how you say it, right?
Hmm.
Yes.
Y'all have been pretty loud, and I don't know what word to use. You guys, any tour posts that we do from local news account is like, okay, but Florida when? So we're excited to get back there because it's been a while.
Yeah, we talk about this a lot on the pod, and we've discovered that for a certain band, unless you're fucking Bono and you're like submarining in, there's only one way in and one way out of Florida. So the further you go down, the further you got to go back up. So if you're like going from New Orleans to South Florida, then you got to go all the way back up to Atlanta and shit like that. So it's all about like a routing thing. And Floridians just we feel
Left
left
out.
out.
I'm sorry, but
No, it's not just you.
but
This comes up a lot.
the way you described it makes sense though, because there's only one way in and out. Yeah, like you can't go to there's only one state to go to before and after, basically.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Makes sense. Okay. Super dumb question. Have you ever played a guitar?
Like goofing off in the studio, never publicly, and also I never really. I don't know if I get it. I don't know if I get the appeal. Um, yeah. Have you ever played a guitar?
No, I never have.
No.
We figured if anyone had, you would.
Uh,
I would say the next Chewing album, maybe when your daughter's a little older, it's like a maybe like a tween. It's all tween themed album on the guitar.
yeah. Yeah, I'm sure she would love that. I'm sure she would not roll her eyes. I'm trying to, keep be the cool dad still until inevitably, you know, I'm not cool.
Well, this brings up something. This is just a personal question. Do you find yourself as being a creative dad? I don't know how old your kid is, or if you're in like school or any like activities where you are now thrust into this world you would never thought you'd fucking be in,
Hmm.
of like suburbia and talking to like mostly dads who are like only into real estate and like
Oh
college
no.
football.
Oh no. Uh well, let's talk, but sounds like you need to talk to somebody, my buddy.
Yeah, I was trying to talk to you about
Yeah,
it.
yeah. She's 3. She does
Okay.
like dance, like ballet, and luckily, I don't know. I just live in this walkable neighborhood in LA that I just really love. Like the other the other parents, like we've become like really good friends with people in her class, and they're all like really cool creatives, like jewelry makers or photographers or musicians that I had known in a past, like I was like a past life, and I was like, oh, I haven't seen you in 10 years. What's up? So luckily, I haven't reached that point that you have, and maybe it's inevitable, and maybe she just like starts an activity that only brings out the college frat dads.
It might be where you're at too. I'm
Yeah,
in like classic South Florida suburb, and there's not a lot of tattooed writers taking their kid to school,
no, you're just standing out like a sore thumb.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
are you the weird dad like at like the PTA meetings?
I'm generally the only dad because I
Oh,
have the flexible schedule.
come on,
Um,
dads, show up.
and I have a tendency to not say no because, as you know, these years are fleeting and precious, and so I'm like, half the battle is just being there.
Totally.
I don't know how to ask this next question after all that wisdom
Uh,
and heart. Do you cut or discard the fat off your steak?
always.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Y- I mean, I leave a little bit on. I don't cook steak a lot, but I'm talking meats in general. But
Hmm.
I think that's at least for the, the way my wife raised me. You got to cut the fat off.
I feel like you
Have
gotta
you?
leave a little bit for
Yeah, it's,
flavor.
it's
Like you don't want
flavor.
to eat all that. That's just asking for a heart attack, but
I think I
like a
think
little
that's
bit.
yeah, yeah, just within reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is I'm gonna reveal one of the many garbage sides of me. When I was growing up, my family would cut all that off and then toss it in barbecue sauce and like fry it and make a sandwich out of it like the next day.
Ooh,
That was a meal.
you are from deep
What?
South Florida, huh?
Yeah.
I didn't know before, but you just confirmed it.
Yeah, just we grew up in the 40s is what it
Yeah.
was.
It was it
Okay.
was it was a tough post-war time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nick, drums or flats?
Drums or flats? What?
Wings, chicken wings.
Oh, drums.
Yeah. I think there's a debate here.
Do
Abby,
you
what
get
are
a
you
lot of
going with?
flats? What's the breakdown?
I mean, I'll eat whatever they give me, but I
Yeah.
do know that there is like a great American debate on the
Hmm.
flats versus the drums,
I
and
think there's
people
more
swear
meat.
by the flats.
Yeah.
Like the boneless tenders, basically.
No,
The actual wing versus like
the drumstick.
the
Oh,
drumstick.
got you.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just I feel like it's always a little bit more work, right?
Agreed.
right. Agree, but there are people out there that will only order those. In fact, I went out for wings last weekend and for like $1 or two more per order because they just did a mix, you could choose if you wanted all flats or all drums.
So they upcharge you either way.
Yeah, which is funny because, it's just some stoner 16-year-old kid back there picking them out of the frozen bag they came in, but
Yeah,
apparently that cost $2.
yeah. Either way you go. There wasn't a discount if you got all
Yeah.
flats.
Well,
Yep.
if you get both, like a mix, then it's double. Then it's both surcharges.
This math isn't mathing.
It is not.
Like, yeah, you want both. You're like, is it double? Nope, it's just split down the middle.
Yeah.
Okay, which one of Chopin's 21 Nocturnes is your favorite?
I'm not familiar with at least 15 of them or 20 or 21. So I don't know. What is that?
Chopin is a musician, a classical pianist,
Uh-huh.
and your album is a predominantly piano album. So we wanted to add a piano question in, and that's the one we came up with.
I that's embarrassing because yeah, when I started like promoting this record, talking about it, I was like, oh, I basically made a neoclassical piano album, and I didn't set out to make that, and I don't feel well versed at all in that world, and other than like modern players like Niels Fromm or something, but yeah, I don't know the history, but and it's also funny certain genres. I feel like you're supposed to know the history. Like I have a handful of jazz
Hmm.
um, musicians, and I was like, oh, you must know everything about jazz, and they're like, no, of course not. Like,
Yeah.
but you assume like you're like, oh, you have to learn the history before you play it, right?
Yeah, we deal with this when someone starts talking technical terms of music, like making music.
Uh
We're like, oh, hey, we're gonna have to stop you right there. We don't know shit about what you're talking
huh.
about. And then we both kind of have different areas of expertise, or like maybe areas that we like slack on. Um, and listeners be the judge of this. Abby knows way more about like hair metal than I do.
Uh-huh.
Like that's something I just skipped, you
I,
know?
I understand. I'm with you, Abby. Though my dad was in a hair metal band, so I feel like I that's all I grew up on.
Oh, it's so fantastic. And I really want to open Ryan's eyes, but I think at this point there's just so much music everywhere. It's too hard to keep up.
Yeah.
I,
Well,
I like it. Don't get me
to be
wrong.
fair, oh, he likes it. I was gonna say to be fair, I haven't listened to it since the '90s, other than when it comes on like in a movie or something. But it's in there because that's all I listened to as like a kid.
I will still put it on.
Yeah.
Like I do this thing where I like to make breakfast, like a big breakfast on Sundays and put on random music, something that I haven't listened to in a while. And that one will come up every now and again for
I was
sure.
I was literally gonna make that as a joke, but you did it because like, what's the occasion? Like cooking or
Yep.
getting ready for bed. Uh,
Getting ready for bed would be.
yeah, just hype, or I guess waking up music maybe.
Hype the day, some
Yeah.
good Twisted Sister for your morning.
Uh huh. Like a double shot of espresso and like let's go.
I love
Double
it.
shot of espresso and a double shot of Motley Crue.
Yeah.
Nick, have you ever tried chewing tobacco?
I have not.
Me
It
neither.
no. It's my wife is Swedish, hence that name Linnea. That's a Swedish name,
Hmm.
and it's like pretty popular over there. Like all our friends do it, and even despite that, I've never even tried it.
Wait,
Like
chewing
it's like
tobacco is popular in Sweden?
it's honestly like the vaping of Sweden. Like they all just kind of like chew tobacco. It's maybe like technically chewing tobacco. It's like they call it like a dip or something,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but we're just splitting hairs.
Wow, that is not a thing I would have ever guessed.
No.
If you were like, you know what's
Yeah.
popular in Sweden?
Never.
I would have said like, I don't know, McDonald's before I ever came up with chewing tobacco.
Yeah, no, I'm proud of that metaphor actually. It is kind of like the vaping. Like I don't seen anyone vape there, but I've seen like everybody chew tobacco.
I'm also impressed that you had like a legitimate answer to this question that Ryan only asked you because your last name is in the word chewing
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
I
chewing.
mean,
Yep.
I appreciate it. Not enough chewing questions. Yeah,
Well, which side of your mouth do you chew on?
right. I just had to do it really
That's
quick.
the right answer.
Um,
Get it?
yes.
Haha.
I'm trying to think of more chewing questions. You ever
Yeah,
what's your thoughts on Big League Chew?
I'm pro. I it I feel like I had like all these like chewing trivia stuff just because this became my nickname.
Yeah.
And it was the nickname came about. Do you remember? I don't know if you guys watch basketball. Patrick Ewing. Um,
Uh,
Okay.
the
well, that's
you know
perfect segue into our next question, but keep
yeah,
going.
he had this Snickers commercial like 20 years ago or something. It was a bat. Oh yes, I'm gonna get brave and turn on my video see if it doesn't ruin everything. He had this.
For the listener, I just gotta cut you off. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
I was explaining to Abby, I do these things throughout the day that are only funny to me. And I was like, I have an old Patrick Ewing jersey. I
And you got
also
the
have
Knicks
an
hat
old
on.
Knicks hat. So I'm wearing a Nik Ewing outfit today. Get it, everyone?
I love this
It's
man.
also
It's so thoughtful.
it's a dream team jersey for, maybe we'll post this when the episode comes out, but it's way too small.
Okay. Because my last name is Ewing in the 90s, just I grew up knowing every Patrick Ewing trivia thing, and I had the jersey too. At that same jersey you're wearing, uh,
The dream team one?
the Dream Team one. Yeah.
Whoa. What
I think
size are you? I'll
it
send
was
you
it
this one.
was a different colorway. I actually had it when I was a kid too, and I held on to it way too long. And also maybe that's when you were a kid, it just stopped fitting.
Yeah,
So that's when I had to
it's
get
real
rid of it.
tight around the torso. Especially I'm like slumped. I just ate an egg sandwich.
he had a Snickers commercial that wasn't even that popular, and it was just like he's hungry or like what their slogan is like, and it's like don't get dunked on by Patrick Chewing, and then all my friends started calling me Chewing, and yeah, like even Ryan in my band, like when you're like a kid and your parent uses like your first and middle name, you're like oh shit, like I'm really in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
When he calls me Nick, then I'm like, oh, he's like upset with me. He only
Yeah.
calls me Chewing or Chew or Chewy, like some like variation of that. But when it's like, hey Nick, I'm like, oh no, like we need to talk.
Well, okay, perfect. You were just on our buddy Matt's indie basketball podcast
Oh
as
yeah,
well. Yeah,
yeah,
he's a bud. We've been on his. He's gonna be on ours. I think we might kick off this season. Are you a basketball fan still?
a huge fan. Yeah, um, that's how I kind of became Instagram a follower of his account. I think it's so funny and um,
It's a great idea. Shout out to
yeah,
Matt, indie basketball.
indie basketball.
I just watched the Patrick Ewing Snickers commercial. It's funny.
It was not a huge hit. It's like 10 seconds, but yeah,
Well,
it was.
I mean, because basketball players used to do food, because my favorite and drinks, because my favorite is Grant Hill drinking Sprite like after a game. And then all these kids go, whoa, Grant Hill drinks Sprite?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, we're so impressionable. I bet You bought more Sprite if you like Grant Hill.
I still say that to this day.
Yeah.
My favorite NBA commercial is Charles Barkley throwing a guy through a window.
For like car insurance or like
No, no, I'm just
what's
kidding.
he
It's a
selling?
joke. So,
Oh,
so let me preface this like this. We are big Orlando Magic fans. I'm wearing a Knicks. I like any New York team because I lived in New York for a very long time, but in my heart of hearts, I'm an Orlando Magic fan. And at sometime in the 90s, Barkley got arrested literally in downtown Orlando for throwing a guy through the window,
oh my,
but also didn't hurt his reputation at all.
that's amazing. I mean, I feel like he's reached like this Oprah level of approval. Like he'll do like these funny rants and just like rip somebody, and it's like, oh well, I might disagree, but I love the guy.
Yeah, it's like problematic, but you're like, it's Charles Barkley. Who?
Yeah, totally.
So who's your team?
The Clippers. I
The
like Clippers.
Clippers.
Yeah, I grew up a Lakers fan
Hmm.
and then moved to LA and a long time ago, and the Clippers tickets were just like so cheap, so I just started going to all the games. And then the longer I lived here, and I've said this publicly, so if you guys want to get my replies, let's do it. If you made it this far in the podcast, Lakers fans are just so obnoxious.
Oh, I
Like
know it.
like I assume Yankee fans or something. Just yeah. So it really turned me off, and I just became a Clippers fan like 15 years ago or so.
There's a few fan bases that are just the worst. It's like Philly, Boston. I wouldn't even put New York in there. I feel like New York's we're loud, but like I don't know, LA fans are mean.
Yeah, they're like it becomes like say personal or something. Like we're not even talking about stats or like wins and losses at a certain point, you know.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. So I'm just like what are we even arguing about? Like we just like different jerseys. Like come on, you
yeah,
realize people are allowed to like other teams, right?
yeah. So what do you think the Clippers going to do this year? You think Kawhi and James Harden can make any moves up the ladder? The West is tough.
West is tough. I think we're tiny sleepery, and we've been so disappointing the last few years that like we can honestly do what we did the last couple of years and just like first or second round of playoffs,
Stay healthy.
and that's like a win or something. And yeah, it just really comes down to if Kawhi is health, if he's healthy in April and May, which is what we've been saying for 5 years. Like he has these stretches when he's completely healthy, where he's just like, oh my, is he like an MVP again? But
Yeah.
his body is betraying him. So what can you do?
Okay, true or false? Philadelphia 76ers ain't gonna do shit.
True.
Very true.
Yeah. I'm the Paul George divorce has been a little salty. Um, and I wish him no ill. I love him, but I think he left a bad taste in everyone's mouth. And
I just
yeah,
don't think Philly can win. I just don't think Embiid is has the mentality.
yeah. I mean, like the Olympics were like his best thing ever, I guess, in his career, and only like 2 games. Like he was like being played off the floor for half the Olympics. Um, yeah, he's like he did his classic thing. Like he showed at the Olympics like out of shape and played his way into shape.
Yeah, well, they also those European refs weren't or international refs weren't calling his dumb shit.
Yeah, yeah. He was
They
like
weren't
definitely like
rewarding it.
baiting fouls and they weren't calling it.
Yeah, good. I could talk. Well, we could all talk basketball all day long, but
Well,
let's get to,
you guys are the future's bright for y'all, right? Did
yeah.
you guys sign KCP?
We
Sure
did sign
did.
KCP. We could use maybe one more shooter, but I think we match up well against the Celtics, and it's gonna be that official breakout year in terms of like national media. Um, hopefully.
Because weren't you like a 4 seed or something last year?
Yeah, we were four, and we took Cleveland to seven.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, not
Just
bad.
a bad matchup, and it's your first year, kind of really.
I mean, this is Paolo's third year. So we're young, we're hungry, we're great. We get shit on nationally, like, no one cares or talks about the Magic. So we kind of like this team has to force everyone to take notice.
Yeah,
And the only way to do that is by winning games.
yeah.
Yeah. And
Um,
I hope to go to the first game. They're playing the Heat. The first game of the season is in Miami against the Heat.
oh, a
It's
Florida
on a
how?
fucking Wednesday, though. It's on a Wednesday. Miami's like an hour south and the
Yeah,
worst type of traffic.
I gotta imagine on the obnoxious level, they're um, registering on the scale, right?
Yes, but they're so fair weather. They only like
Oh, okay,
South Florida, they're obnoxious when they're winning, and
gotcha.
then when they're losing or not making any splashes in terms of stardom, no one talks
They're
about
not
them at
going to
all.
games or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Um, okay. Do you bite your nails?
No,
No, good for you. You have any weird ticks or habits that you wish you could break?
sure.
Cracking knuckles or anything like that?
I always crack my knuckles, but I don't even wish I could break it. Like I'm fine with it. I'm at
Yeah,
peace with it.
that's a good
I
one.
I think I can't think of any. Yeah, like I'm at peace with what I do. But the nails I used to bite when I was a kid, and then I stopped, and I feel great about that.
Well said. I don't know how old you are, but I'm assuming we're close-ish in age, the three of us here.
Yeah.
And do you remember growing up, I cracked my knuckles as well. Like older folks when we were kids were like, don't crack your knuckles for a myriad of reasons. And now, like, I made this connection when I went to the chiropractor recently. All they're doing is cracking your bones. You know what I
Professionally
mean?
cracking you.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I haven't even thought about that because I think like I also like crack my back,
yeah.
and I think in my mind I was like I'm a self chiropractor. I'm adjusting myself.
Yeah.
Like I'll do it like after a long flight or something. I was like I need to like reset. I'm pro cracking.
Bro cracking. Okay, when's the last time you went to a house party?
Hmm. Probably like on tour. I guess like kind of the only time that happens. Like you just so maybe like 4 months ago or something. I also don't even remember. I just assume it happened. That's it. Only time that might happen.
I'm a big pro house party. Recently went to a house party. Haven't been in a while. This is like an adult house party. But I was
Yeah.
like, I would hang out. I'd be more social if more people had house parties.
So was it a dinner party or was it like an actual house
No,
party?
it was just a gathering. There was dinner on the like buffet style on the table.
Uh-huh.
Um, but I guess that's where I'm getting at as a parent, you get invited to dinners a lot, and then you get stuck next to someone, and there's no wiggle room. Whereas a party, you can kind of float. It's a
Yeah.
different vibe that I'm much more inclined to join.
I guess I just want to make sure I answer this question accurately. Like, do you define like a Super Bowl party as a house party, or that's
Yeah,
like a okay,
yeah, that
cool.
counts.
Yeah, yeah. But that's gonna like happen anyways, right? Like everyone's there to watch a game or something,
Yeah,
watch commercials.
definitely counts. I don't know where I'm even going with this. It's just like
It's the hard hitting questions.
I
I
know.
went to a Super Bowl party. I went to Taylor's house and I didn't know anybody but Taylor. And and they also didn't want to watch the game as much as I did. So I was like, all right, I want to watch the game and then they joined me for the fourth quarter and we all had a fun time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
As you can see, we asked the hard-hitting questions. We
Yeah.
are we
I'm
are
here for it.
we're going to nominate ourselves for a Pulitzer,
Yeah. I didn't know what
and
to expect on the podcast, but I'm here.
yeah, did you both know that you can nominate yourself for published media for a Pulitzer?
I
No.
did not know. It's just
Yeah.
the honor system.
Yeah, it's I mean obviously it has to go through all the steps, but so I've nominated one of my books a long time ago with a book of poetry. So I could be like it was just a farce back then, but to put in front of it like Pulitzer Prize nominated book of
Uh-huh.
poetry in front of it.
I
And it was like me doing it and paying the $100 like nomination fee and shit like that.
mean, it's a good marketing strategy because we've last like three local natives albums. There's a process. There's a long list of nominations, and the next gets whittled down to like the five or whatever they announce. So
Mhm.
we have been. I know we've been nominated for those because they're like, all right, what category do you want or whatever, and I'm like, this is a fruitless conversation because we're not getting nominated, but this is fun. Um, so I guess we could say the Grammy nominated to
Nominated,
the
nominated.
nominations. Put that on like the vinyl.
That's a shirt.
Yeah,
Nominated for Grammy nominated.
exactly.
I'm feverishly writing down over here. This is a fun episode. Okay, as a graphic designer and an artist and just a creative, I'm assuming you have art hanging in your home.
Yes, mostly, yeah.
Do you have a favorite piece?
I'm gonna shout out a friend of mine. He gave me a piece. He's like an amazing uh fine artist. His name's Johnny Cheatwood. Um, and I like love his art so much, and he's a good friend. And he graciously gave me one of his I don't know what they're called, like a test print. Like he made it before he made the real thing. Um, so shout out Johnny Cheatwood.
Shout out Johnny, man. He's a big
Yeah,
listener, so he'll listen to this.
he's very supportive. He likes hoops. He might actually
Oh,
listen to
nice.
this.
Do you play basketball?
I just played last night. I play once a week. I'm out
No
there, baby.
shit. Me
Yeah.
too, man. I play every Sunday.
I I've talked to like one of my good friends about this. He's like in the league. He lives on the East Coast.
Mhm.
And I was like, I played really well last night. And I came home and I was trying to share that joy with my wife. Like I made the game winning shot. Like I was just firing, and she she's very supportive, but like you can't convey that in any sense. She's like, oh, like very happy for you. And I was like, yeah, yeah, but like I did like a fake three and he bit on it. Then I dribbled two times and like got like a pull up mid range. And she's just like, I don't know what language you're speaking. And I was talking to my friend about this, and he's like, you can't tell them anything. Like just enjoy it, but you can't relive it.
Oh no, I disagree. She needs to high five you and be like, right on, babe, and like give you a tap on the hiney and
Oh, she was so supportive. But I'm just like, I want to go through each of my
yeah.
scoring plays and like my steal, and it's just like I just see her like, oh, that's cool. I was like, no, 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 but I played really well. Yeah, also on defense, and and it's just
Got a few stops on defense,
yeah,
couple big blocks.
yeah.
Oh man, I want to play basketball with you, dude.
I'm say notorious. I always play pick up on the road, so I bring a ball with me, and I'll play with strangers all the time. Um,
I
so
mean, if you want to play in South Florida, let me know.
yeah, let me know where the good court is, and let's go.
I mean, I'll pick you up. We'll go find. There's definitely some near the venue in Fort Lauderdale.
Like not a joke. Count me in.
Okay,
I'm
cool.
playing. I'm playing like probably on tour like twice a week. I'm trying to play a little bit more.
That's awesome. Yeah, we can shoot around or pick up with whoever's there. It'll be fun.
Yeah,
Okay. How do you feel about someone who wore, let's say, Nike socks with Vans shoes?
I think about that all the time, especially when I play. Like
Do you really? Are you
yeah,
messing with me?
no, I am not. Um, I feel like it makes me unsettled in my body. I don't have many like branded socks anyways, so it's mostly when I'm playing basketball. That's when I think about it, because like I have like whatever, like the tight socks, like the ankle
Yeah.
support socks or whatever, and that's when I feel self conscious. I'm like New Balance socks with Adidas shoes. I'm like,
Can't do it.
ah. And mostly like the pickup games is mostly like I was like kids like in their 20s or something, and I feel like all they do is not all they do. Half of them can just roast you for no reason, like they're just kids.
Yeah.
So I don't want to give them any ammunition by
But I feel like that might be a certain generational thing because we've asked young and old folks on this podcast,
uh-huh.
and it seems to be a certain demographic. Younger, it doesn't even register. And I see it
Oh,
around the neighborhood, like there's a park right across from me. I go shoot around there too. That's why I thought about this. Also,
uh-huh.
Nike is in your name.
Yeah.
So it's
Nike Wing.
Nike Wing.
Yeah.
You should have your own signature basketball shoe.
There was I think there were sunglasses. They had some model called Wing come out like a decade ago. So it's Nike Wing. Like a couple friends call me that too. It's like Nike Wing, or like my website for my
Yeah,
design portfolio is nickewing.com. But if you read it in other ways, it's Nike Wing.
yeah, it's great for SEO.
Yeah, definitely. So I remember like a decade ago just getting just it's just like my algorithm or my feed just like I just kept seeing these very specific like track glasses.
Yeah,
Luckily they were short lived and they weren't like the Air Force Ones or something, but they did do one model called the Wing that didn't do well, gratefully.
I hope we all think about this episode when we're out and about in the world and we see some dude wearing like Adidas with Reebok, Adidas socks with like Reebok shoes, and we all stop and pause.
If they're uh, if they're cool with it, yeah, I think about it and I feel conflict within me.
I, it brings me back to like seventh grade and being roasted for it. Like you said, that's
Yeah, I
just
mean
what it
maybe
is.
that's just it. It's just like you remember those childhood roastings and that cuts deep.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Ever watch the show Pacific Blue?
No, no.
Abby, is that the one you're watching right now, Pacific
It's
Blue?
not the one I'm watching right now, but I did watch it and I did love it.
Is it a
And I have
crime?
no shame in that. It is
Is
Bike Cops. It was essentially Baywatch on bicycles,
uh-huh.
starring Mario Lopez and what is her name? Shayna. I can't remember her last name that Travis Barker used to be married to.
Oh yeah.
Oh, so
And
this
they
was like
just,
90s?
yeah, and so they just rode their bikes around like Venice and prevented crime. And it was perfect.
Uh-huh. All I can think of is like the 21 Jump Street remake when they're like bike cops and
Yeah.
like it's literally a joke. Like they can't keep up with the criminals because they're on bikes.
Which is essentially probably what would happen, but
Yeah, yeah.
it was great.
They oh no, they got in a car.
There needs to be a super cut of that show, just how many times they have to get off their bike.
Yeah.
Everything requires getting off the bike.
Yeah.
So I asked that question because of your first album, Pacific Ocean Blue.
Yeah. No, I saw where you're
But
going with it.
yeah, you saw where
Yeah,
like
yeah.
so
Um
are you currently watching any shitty shows? Emphasis on
I
shitty.
what's that?
Emphasis on shitty.
Yeah. I
Guilty
feel
pleasure.
like my kids 3 and we're trying to be like conscious of her screen time. So like that means I watch less TV. So I honestly watch like 1 or 2 episodes of something after she goes to sleep right now. And at that point it's just like it's premium content. It's like I'm catching a bunch shows or like my bandmates are making fun of me because I still haven't seen The Bear. And I was just like, I got it's on my list, but I it's tough when I'm only watching one. Or if there's, basketball's in season or football's in season,
Yeah,
like it's
of
just like
course.
then I'm then it's 2 episodes a week, because there's games on.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
so it's a big cop out to say no. But my wife watches The Bachelor and Bachelorette pretty
Yeah.
like hate watching it. I don't know if she hate watches it. So like I'll I'll pop into that because I'll be like on my phone or computer, and then um once I see the drama happening, I'm like, then I'll perk up. I'm like, ooh, like what are those two dudes fighting about?
What was I gonna say? What's your daughter? If your daughter's watching a show, is she more like Peppa Pig, Paw Patrol? What's the young kids watching these days?
She's all about Peppa right now.
Nice.
She's about Curious George.
Does she have a British accent yet?
No, but I think it's seeping in there.
It is. My niece loves Peppa, and she'll say like, she literally said this recently. They went away. She's like, "We're going on holiday," and I was like, "What?"
Uh, that's amazing.
Yeah, right.
I think about it, Peppa, a lot too, because there was like a Peppa album that came out like a few years ago, and it got a better Pitchfork review than Sunlit Youth, one of the
Oh,
local natives albums. So I just tweeted those two screenshots next to each other, and it got the most love I ever got on Twitter ever. Um, so I think about that kind of regularly now. Like this, they put out an album that got more critical acclaim than one of my own albums. And now she's watching it. That stings.
that's why she based what she watches on Pitchfork reviews.
Totally, yeah,
Oh man, we're having so much fun.
yeah,
I oh, okay, so we end every episode with a song from our guest. So, what song of yours do you want us to cap this episode with, and why?
yeah. Um, I'm going to go with it's one of two songs. I'm gonna go with a song called "Morning After the Greek."
Okay.
It's on my new Chewing record, and it was my band, Local Natives, played like our first post pandemic show when everyone was playing those. Then the pandemic kept going, so step kept going. So I don't even know how to define it, but it was like our first one back in like 2 years, in 2021, and it was a really emotional show, and we were in the middle of making recording Time Away from No One, and which is also But I'll Wait for You. We kind of made them at the same time. And in the middle of that, we've talked a lot about it kind of openly. Kelsey was like considering quitting the band.
Hmm.
And so we played that show and things were a little rough. And we're like, I don't know if that's the last show, the last local native show. Like but it was also like sold out and everyone had all this joy because we were all pent up, stuck inside for a long time.
Yeah.
And the morning after that show, I wrote the song, and that was kind of like how I felt, like just my peaceful acceptance of what I can't control. And I was my daughter was about to be born. I don't know, a couple of weeks after that, so it just felt like, oh man, like my life could potentially be turning completely upside down. Um, and then Kelsey, we talked it all through, and he's like, I want to remain in the band, but then very recently he's decided to leave. So again, or for good, or this is like actually his decision now. And we've talked about that. We've been pretty open with it. This touring that we're going to do is probably like one of the last tours with him. And it's all love. It's his decision. But anyways, I'm saying all this because like that song is off this new Chewing record, and it's only been out for like a month, and already it's taken on like multiple meanings in my life. Like it meant
Hmm.
one thing when I wrote it. When I recorded it like a year later, Kelsey was back in the band. My daughter was born, and then by the time I released it, he decided to leave again. So it was just like this. I think this very personal song where just like a song like takes on different meanings over time. I'm sure even as a listener to artists I love, like songs mean something when I was a kid, and then I revisit it, or I'm in a different point in life, and I can finally decipher a lyric that flew over my head before. So all long-winded to say, like it's already been on quite a journey, for me personally, even though it's only been out for a few weeks.
Wow. It's incredible, man. Whatever I'm about to say to fill this awkward silence now will not do it justice.
It's all good.
Other than thank you.
Thank you. This was really fun. I appreciate it.
So, what's the future hold for you as a solo artist, as a dad, as a bandmate?
Like so local natives will continue as a band. We've talked about that. We've talked about that even publicly with fans and stuff. So we're gonna start making a new record, just the four of us, next year. And I don't know what that will be like, and I don't know what the tour after that. We're talking years from now or a couple of years.
Mhm.
Like I don't think any of us know, but we're all pretty open, and we'll figure that out as it goes. Um, I'm also already working on a third Chewing album. And every Chewing record, it feels there's solo projects. There's way less expectations, but this is a hard pivot as well. As you kind of briefly mentioned, Pacific Ocean Blue is my first record, and that's sounds pretty unlike anything that we've talking about. My second piano album, it's a little like heavy electronic kind of dream poppy. Anyways, I'm working on a third record, and it's
It's going to be all guitar Taylor Swift covers.
exactly. It's going to be a hard pivot again, but I'm really excited about it.
Ewing. I'm trying to think of a pun with Ewing and guitar or something like that.
There's something in there. I'm sure we can crowdsource this. Get a hashtag going.
Dude, thank you so much for doing this. This is a long time coming and definitely lived up for us. We're fans and now hopefully friends.
Yeah, can't wait to play basketball with you in Florida. Um, Thanks for having me on. This was so much fun.